A disability is something that has a major impact on your life.
Every disability is different.
And it's never the same thing for two people. I am blind in my right eye totally and partially sighted in my left eye.
I was 18 years old. We were traveling way too fast on a gravel road. Broke my neck, my back.
My Asperger's syndrome and my cerebral palsy.
I have anxiety and depression. People would have no idea just talking to me.
Being independent means different things to different people.
I want to live in my own house. I want to pay my own bills.
Live independently and not rely on other people.
When someone is not able to live as independently as they can, it does have a detrimental effect on people's physical and mental well-being.
It's no complicated thing. It's just that people with disabilities want to be included.
Plenty of people get stuck in ruts when they feel like they can't overcome something in their life. That's where Lyft comes in.
Living independently for today and tomorrow. Lyft. We help people of all ages and all types of disabilities find the resources or acquire the skills to live as independently as possible.
We serve the southeastern 18 counties here at the Billings office. We have a variety of things that we offer. We can help with grant funding for adaptive equipment.
Maybe a home modification so they're able to access their home. We help people to find that funding.
Helping people apply for Social Security benefits.
Medicaid, Medicare, housing.
They have a peer support group. Peer support, I think, is key.
Sharing life experiences is one of the most powerful things to help people who might be new to disability, who might be struggling with their disability.
Youth transitions is kids that are transitioning out of high school. They need to learn those adulting skills. It might be rent an apartment, learn how to grocery shop, budgeting.
Help someone advocate for themselves in a school or an employment setting. One of our biggest strengths is providing folks with information and referral. If we can't help you, we hope to know who can.
A lot of times we'll have a potential consumer call in and they think that they just have one need, and it turns out that we end up finding 3 or 4 things we can actually do for them.
You can just come in and say, hey, I feel like I have this going on. Can you help me? And we can, which is so cool to me. I love that.
Most of us on staff at Lyft have identified ourselves as having one or more disabilities. That is helpful in many cases.
It's easier to empathize with someone when you yourself have struggled with a disability.
This is what we specialize in. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
And it costs nothing to go to Lyft. It's a nonprofit organization and they're there to help.
Somebody that was a consumer that was working with Lyft was asked to do an art project. He visualized that the balloon helps to lift people up. And then it became the logo and it's stuck.
There's been success on all kinds of levels.
It's really rewarding to have a consumer go, hey, I was able to do this by myself today.
We want people to live their best life as independent as possible.
Live as everyone else in society and live as a part of society, not apart from society.
Everybody needs help. Sometimes you just need a little more help, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay.
There's plenty of life to live still, and there's a way you can do it. Keep chipping away at it, little by little by little.
Knowledge is power. Let's share it, for crying out loud.
Send us an email, give us a call. We'll do our best to help.
We can definitely help figure out what your needs are and get started on that. We're one of many steps in the path to independence, and we're happy to be serving people here in the community.
Good day and welcome to Living Well in Montana. Living Well in Montana is a program of living independently for today and tomorrow, or LIFT as we like to call ourselves. LIFT is what is known as a Center for Independent Living. We are a nonprofit source of information, resources, and advocacy for people of all ages with all types of disabilities across our 18-county service area in south central and southeastern Montana. For more information about LIFT, I encourage you to visit our website at www.liftt.org or download our LIFT app for your Apple or Android device. Just search LIFTT in your preferred app store. My name is Jed Barton, and it is my privilege to be a public relations specialist at LIFT, and sharing the hosting duties with me for this edition is our Executive Director, Carlos Ramallo. One of the core missions at LIFT is to advocate alongside persons with disabilities for them to have access to the tools they need to live as independent, fully participatory members of society. That includes access to the information being put out every day by the media. Our guest today is Dave Worstell, the president and publisher of the Billings Gazette, and we will be talking a little about how and why people use media, what the Billings Gazette and its parent company Lee Enterprises do to help make their media products accessible for all, a little bit about the future landscape of media, and about how LIFT has come to form a partnership with Billings Gazette and Lee through the use of Billings Gazette and Lee's digital arm to design our most recent website and the aforementioned mobile app. Welcome, Dave. I am going to turn it over to Carlos to ask the first question.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here, and always enjoy our conversations and the ability to share some of the things that we're doing at the Billings Gazette, and talk about media in general, and answer any questions that we have today. So looking forward to the discussion.
So David, tell us, do people still read the newspapers?
Yeah, that's a good question, and the answer is absolutely yes, they do. The way they read newspapers is much different than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and certainly 50 years ago. And that is the influence of the internet, clearly. And so we still sell and are read by thousands and thousands of readers who enjoy the print edition. And they enjoy that traditional view of the newspaper with ink on paper. And so thousands and thousands of people still subscribe. But more often, every single week, we have our readers converting to digital. And so we are challenged with providing the news in the format that you want, Carlos, that you want, Jed, and any other person wants. So think of mobile phones, think of laptop computers, think of iPads, whatever the device you need to consume the news, including traditional ink on paper, we provide the news that way. So to answer your question, yes, absolutely. They're still reading the newspaper, but they're doing it in a much different way than they were even 10 years ago.
So would you say that the newspaper edition is not accessible to all individuals, and that technology made the newspaper and news more accessible?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, go back to when it was traditional newspaper, it would maybe have been very difficult for some individuals to consume the news. And in fact, if you go way back when, we used to provide large magnifying glasses that some consumers needed to read the paper. And so advanced to today, and certainly technology has opened up the door for us to provide tools to include more people to read our product. And that includes a variety of tools, whether you're visually impaired. There's ways to increase the font of the digital version. If you're deaf or hard of hearing, we've got exciting tools out there where the article can be read to you. And so just a variety of ways that we strive to include more people. And that's a good decision, not only as a community member, but also a business decision. The more folks that can consume our information, our product, the better. And we're excited to be able to open up those opportunities for all individuals that want to consume the newspaper.
It's interesting because part of my education growing up was to learn how to read the newspaper. I grew up in a city and the newspaper was a big block of paper with several articles and booklets and subdivisions, one for editorials, politics, economy, mercantile exchange and things like that. And my grandfather was blind, and in the afternoon, one of my tasks was to read the paper for him. And it was interesting because he would guide me where to go and what to read based on the first readings, and he would ask me to go to different sections of the newspaper searching for additional information. And I keep nowadays asking myself if I would be doing that nowadays if he was still alive. Probably not, because at Billings Gazette, a website, for example, you have an audio edition, right?
Exactly, we do. And so yeah, you may still be reading for your grandfather because that was a special bonding moment.
Yeah. But
he would also have the ability to use our audio player, and that is an addition to our website, where if he was reading an article or he was interested in hearing an article read to him, he could easily click on a button, and the audio version of that article would be read to him. And interestingly enough, that audio player has some components to it that can speed up the reading of the text to him. So maybe he wanted to consume a lot of articles in a short period of time, so he wanted the person reading to him to speed up the way they shared the story, or if they wanted to slow it down. And so our audio player can control that, and the user is in control of that ultimately to speed it up or slow it down a little bit. And that just is another layer of inclusion, depending on the person and their abilities, depending on the day. That's a nice tool to have. And also, interestingly enough, our audio player will read it to you in different languages as well.
Oh.
So there's some options there, and so if he wanted to have that article read to him in English versus Spanish or some other different language, he could control that, or you could control that for him. So again, all in the spirit of inclusion and attracting more readers and making it easy for readers to consume the news that we work hard to put together.
Lyft is very proud of have Billings Gazette and Lee Enterprises as one of its strategic partners. And one of the reasons I think this partnership is successful is because Billings Gazette, Lee Enterprises, and Lyft share the same values. We want the society to be diverse. We want to promote inclusion in any possible way we can. And not only that, on top of diversity and inclusion, We value equity and accessibility. And we found in Billings Gazette the perfect partner. Because I remember 5 years ago, we didn't have an accessible website. And thanks to Billings Gazette, we were able to create a state-of-the-art website and app and use all the accessibility tools that you have available to the public.
Yeah, we're certainly proud of that partnership and share those same values with Lyft, and I think that's important. And as I mentioned, it's just good practice. It's good practice to include as many people as possible, especially when you're putting out a variety of news. And that news can be entertainment related, it can be hard-hitting political, it can be comic strips, it can be crossword puzzles, it can be just a variety of news and information and sports. So we work hard to strive to have inclusion. And to your mention of the website and app that we worked on together, it was very, very clear from the very start that it needed to be ADA compliant. And really what that meant to us, and we certainly learned more, is that make it accessible for more people and help any folks that maybe have certain challenges, make sure that it's accessible to them. So when it comes to the website, certainly being able to change the font size on the Lyft website and app is a tool that's included when you use some of those special features. Changing the color patterns of the text can be another component of it. Again, for those folks that may have some visual challenges or color blindness and that type of thing. So there's a whole host of components that we utilize when building websites like that to make sure that it works for as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important to mention how big the investment Billings Gazette has made to provide the public with all those tools. Because there are newspapers out there, they are still not accessible. They don't provide all those facilities for people to be able to read. And the same thing happens with Lyft. We, thanks to many donations that we received, we were able to invest thousands of dollars in having that accessibility available to them. I was reading this morning, there are more than 42 reasons why people read in newspapers. Did you know that?
42 reasons. I might be challenged to list those 42 reasons, but that's interesting. I haven't seen that list.
Yeah, they classify them in groups, social, economical, cultural, psychological, physical, and then there are all kinds of subdivisions in that area. If it's economical or social and political, people sometimes are seeking information and engagement or attempting to prepare for the future. Psychologically speaking, they read the paper because they want to decrease the level of uncertainty that we live in nowadays. They want to be able to predict the future and make decisions, sometimes personal decisions, business decisions. So it's interesting how connected to people, individuals, and society a newspaper can be.
Yeah, that's quite often I'm asked, why do people subscribe to the paper? And the answer is it really depends. It depends on what's happening in your life that particular day. For example, I don't know if you have dinner plans scheduled tonight, but in some cases, are you going to be cooking at home? Are you going to be cooking for yourself or your partner or a family or friends? Or maybe you want to go out to dinner. And so you may be looking at the newspaper for recipes. You may be looking at the newspaper for ideas on restaurants to go to. And or maybe you're interested in going to a ball game this weekend, or a wrestling tournament, and different things that are taking place. And so those are reasons why people read the newspaper. And certainly to understand and to know what's happening in your community, the challenges and the opportunities and leadership's opinions of where the community is going. Certainly advertising, if you're looking to save some money on your next shopping bill, whether that's a grocery store or a department store or buying a new car or buying a new house, you can find information related to commerce as well that helps you and helps your life. So I believe that there's 42 reasons and maybe even more depending on the individual, and that changes every single day. And that's why this business is just fascinating to me, because there's so many people are dependent on the information to raise their quality of life. And that really ties back into making sure that the news and information we provide is accessible. And when we build websites for clients such as yourself, accessibility is critical there as well.
Yeah. What do you think is out there in the future in terms of accessibility and transformation? Do you think we will stop printing newspapers? It will eventually become only electronic? Will we have robots reading the news to us, something like that?
Well, good question. I would predict at some point it will be digital only, but that's years down the road, because there's still, as I mentioned earlier, there's thousands and thousands of people who say, I want my print edition. I want to read it in print. But that's changing, and technology is leading the way on that. In terms of robots reading the news and whatnot, artificial intelligence is here, and that's being used in different ways. In fact, the way we have articles read to a consumer is use of artificial intelligence. And that's when, in my opinion, AI is serving a positive purpose. Also, future enhancements that we anticipate is more video for, again, folks that may be unable to read or have challenges there, and more closed captioning of those videos that we provide. So those, again, that may be deaf can read the text. A variety of other things that we're working on, certainly from a technology standpoint, enable us to kind of look to that future, and it's exciting and sometimes scary, but overall, when it's used to help people and include more people, then we embrace it.
Yeah, as you know, I am deaf, but I am also low vision. So I rarely use the audio version of the newspaper because I can't hear it, but I read it and I use the magnifier and other facilities like highlighting the text that I am reading helps a lot to follow the text. And I wouldn't be able to read the paper, printed paper anymore. If it were not for technology itself, I would be deprived of that type of information. So I am grateful, and it amazes me to see how technology made accessibility a reality, you know.
Yeah, I think it's been a positive for sure, and so that technology and the audio player, those tools are certainly a benefit to you, as you point out, and then even to me, where I'm not faced with those particular challenges, but sometimes I want the article read to me. Maybe I'm commuting home, and I can have that article read to me, and which is much safer than trying to read it while you drive. Obviously, we don't want that.
Yeah.
And so it's good for not only folks like you, Carlos, but for me as well. So it's used by a lot of people out there.
How would you talk about accessibility or promoting diversity and inclusion as a publisher? Thinking about the content of the newspaper, would you say that Billings Gazette promotes individual and systems change, contribute for communities and even the state to be aware of the need of including people with disabilities and people with other intersectional identities?
Sure, yeah, we certainly try to make sure that inclusion is at the center of what we do, and that would fall into the way we report on stories or what stories we report on, and our job is to report the news, what's happening in the community. And for example, if you rewind the clock, 20-some years ago, there was some crime in Billings, Montana related to anti-Semitism, and where a brick was thrown through a young child's window, and that was a good example of not only reporting on the criminal behavior, but also the newspaper taking a stand to rally the community to really send the message that there's no room for hate in our community. And that was a proud moment of the Billings Gazette, I think a proud moment of Billings, Montana, that put us on the map nationally to take that stand. And the population of Billings does not skew heavily on the Jewish population, but that didn't matter. Didn't matter at all. It was a community rallying around one of our own, and again, sending the message that this wasn't acceptable. So I like to think that we still operate that way today. And in fact, a little over a year ago, we celebrated the 20th anniversary of that event, and really brought that subject up again. So we continue to, I think, send the right message, and we don't always get it right, but we sure aim to do that.
And that's why Lyft is happy and proud to be a partner of Billings Gazette and Lee Enterprises. In the future, we would like to look for new opportunities to improve our partnership. Perhaps Billings Gazette would be willing to offer Lyft's consumers with a digital subscription of Billings Gazette in a lower price, financially more accessible.
Yeah, good.
And then for them to try and see for themselves how accessible and how easy it is for them to consume the news through Billings Gazette, no matter what type of disabilities they have. Is it something you think it's possible?
I think so. We'd be glad to work with your group, your clientele, to help them consume our news. Absolutely.
And with that, we have reached the time limit for this conversation. No doubt there will be further conversations in the future. Dave, thank you for joining us. Carlos, thank you as always. This has been Living Well in Montana from Lyft. For more information about Lyft, please visit our website at lift.org or download our mobile app through the Apple or Android App Store. Thank you.